welcome to another exciting episode of The Energy That Surrounds Us. I'm your host, Michael, and tonight, on this special night, we have for you guys, I say we, it's really I have for you guys, an amazing duo who I have had the joy of meeting in person at least twice, and they are the sweetest, kindest people you could meet. So it is my distinct pleasure and honor and blessing to introduce you all to the Texas Jailhouse, Jeremy and Sonia.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. Thank you, Michael, for that warm introduction. We're excited to share this experience.
Yes, and your guys' story is so amazing. And one of the things that I love about your story is not only are you in a jailhouse like almost 24/7, but you delved into the history of not only where you're at, but the city. So I am going to allow both of you to introduce yourselves to the audience because you guys are just so amazing.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm Jeremy Janz, and here at the Texas Jailhouse, but the Texas Jailhouse is so many different things for us. The paranormal has been a magical experience where both myself and Sonia, but love history and set out to find a historical building that we could help save, preserve the history, be a part of the community, and then explore this whole other realm, this paranormal dimension, this different understanding of beliefs. And it's just been an exciting journey. I really enjoy a lot of the tech and work on being as authentic as possible and see how we can create an interactive experience. I'm going to turn it over to Sonia.
I'm Sonia, and we're best friends and business partners, Jeremy and I. And in 2013, he was able to acquire this amazing building, and we knew that in order for us to have a business, we would also have to live here. And so we converted some offices into bedrooms, and one of our very first events in this building was a paranormal investigation. Before we even moved in, before we even had the building, we brought in some ghost teams just to see what it was about. And then we were able to move in, and on the very first night that we moved in, I saw a full-bodied apparition of a child. And my daughter, she was right behind me when I stopped, and she's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Oh, nothing." And needless to say, she only made it, about a month staying in the jail, and she was like, "I think I've had enough." And so, she moved to my mom's, and then, there's so many theatrical events that we do in the jail, and it really lends itself to that. But the number one question we get asked is it haunted? And yes, it is.
Well, and what's kind of funny is as you were introducing yourself, this message popped up. Sky XOZ with "Hi, Mom."
Oh, hi, baby girl. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, she's in Dallas, and so I don't get to see her all the time. And so that's amazing. Hey, Skylar.
Yeah, and so what is some of the history that you found that you were like, wait, did I really just discover this about this place? And was like, you're like, really?
Well, I love history. I'm a writer, and so I really dug deep. And there was a particular story that I wanted to tell, and just by doing the research on the story of this person who was he was a marshal in Palestine in the 1800s. I was able to learn so much about the square, the courthouse square where this building is, and the original jail that was here, and that was built in 1879. And when I was reading some of these stories, they fashioned, a gallows, a hanging noose for when, prisoners were going to be executed. And they would do it right here at this location. Not in this building, but in the 1879 jail. And so, I guess it just really hit home at that moment that, yes, of course, people have died, on land in different places, but right here, people were terrified and they took their last breaths, paying for crime.
And if I'm not mistaken, the location you're at, you have the working shower behind you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's over there. Let's see if I can get you a shot of that magical shower.
I mean, it is amazing how much you guys are able to maintain and keep original to the area with it. I mean, most places would not put, I think, the time and effort in. And I love on the tour when you're like, look, you have a working door. You can use this to, antagonize things or bring things in. And then you're like, and we have a working shower. Do you turn it on? It's like, wow.
Yeah. It's actually kind of like a waterfall. But the one that's up here, it's just cold water. And I've never personally experienced that. Jeremy has, but I have not.
Yeah, I've tried it out. It's something special for sure.
Yeah, with your guys' camera setup, I don't think I'll be trying it out.
Yeah, that's something I had to be aware of. There was a prison sheet. It looked very much authentic with a big white sheet over an area.
We've been here for, over 10 years, and it's just been this past year that we've had cameras up.
Right.
And so we're still getting used to there being cameras everywhere. And, we need to put up signs as reminders to, zip it. Like our mouths and our clothes. But,
Yeah.
Remember, you are being recorded.
Right, exactly.
Well, the spot we're in right now actually is an area that we're going to try to designate for ongoing live streaming. And we will be putting up signs for ourselves, but also, working with people when they come here, what their comfort level is with streaming. And otherwise, we want to give the virtual space or online viewers or people wherever they are an opportunity to potentially ask a question, have it asked in this space, and see if one of these devices goes off and interacts, and see what type of maybe we could do like some virtual or investigating, like paranormal investigating from anywhere with streaming.
I have actually done an investigation over the phone and on a computer, so it is possible to do it virtual, and they will respond.
Wow.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I think tech is getting it to where we can engage viewers from all over or people interested from all over, and that's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're not feeling well, you get to still come and investigate.
Absolutely. Yes. Or if you can't walk up the stairs, or you're far away and you can't make it. So, that was Jeremy's brainchild. He thought of that, and everybody that we bring it up to, they're like, yes, do that. And so we've been working diligently, over the years. Jeremy finding deals on cameras, and he's the tech person of our partnership. Thank goodness. I can help him run wires around here everywhere, but I can't really do much else. I'm learning. But since
Don't
we
feel
have,
bad.
yeah. Since we
Don't
have
feel bad.
gotten
I'm not
cameras
exactly.
up, In the lobby, we walk by our monitors, and I find myself spending more and more time, looking at the monitors and looking at everything we've been missing all these years without the cameras, because there's so much activity that goes on.
And I want to point out, too, beyond the paranormal, is I want to acknowledge that you guys do a lot for the city as well. And one of the events I remember you guys were talking about, and I think when I was there one year, you were actually getting ready to get started on making the Grinch.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes, that's our biggest event. It's the Grinch's Lair. It's inspired by Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, of course, and it's an adaptation. The Grinch is locked up in jail for stealing the gifts, and we inspire through our art, and it's live and interactive. It's really unique, and families just love it. They come year after year, and it's so much fun. It really is.
Yeah. So when is that going to start this year?
I can't remember the exact date. It's the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Every year we try to make it that weekend before Thanksgiving. It's our opening weekend.
Yeah. And so how long are you guys going to be open with it?
Well, it will be every year. It ranges just a little bit. So this year we're looking at approximately
Till the 23rd. Wait, no, it would be the 21st.
at least 5 weekends. At least 5 weekends. And so we try to be available as much as we can. Totally worth people making a trip. It's become family tradition. And I will say, I appreciate what you're saying and acknowledging the Grinch. It's been super magical to take a place that we do this experience. And something else about paranormal for me is it's not always dark. Just like the Texas Jailhouse is, jail and totally ominous, and turning corners and jail bars. But it's so neat to both celebrate the history and have like this magical, friendly experience at Christmas time, but also explore the other side. And it's not always dark. We have a lot of positive paranormal experiences. There is the scary, there is the creepy, these things happen. We do a haunted house, but we try to find balance where we can find a way for as many people to have a good time here.
And we're also a film shoot location. So, that's fun too.
Yeah.
When we get these film crews in here.
So we want to be a space for the community or, Palestine, but also those that come from other places. If you have ideas and you want to collaborate and you want to do something, we're always open. And Sonia's worked really hard on the film projects and done great with that. And I know, Michael, you've worked with a lot of paranormal teams. I feel like it's good to have that balance. She's more sensitive, intuitively. Me, I need technology to tune me in because, I'm just not the same. I'm not wired the same. But I need that. We need that in our lives, people who can sense things like Sonia.
He says that until there's an experience where it leaves him scratching his head, or he's like, ooh, I don't know about that. It's happened over the years. It's not like he's a complete skeptic and no, I just don't believe. It's just, until it's in his face.
There's a lot of people in the paranormal that are like, I've never had an experience because I can't define and look at something and say, yes, it was. And I'm like, well, has this ever happened to you? Like, you have a strange smell or a remembrance of someone long gone. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, that's a paranormal experience. It doesn't have to be something walking across the screen or touching you. It's so much more than that. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused or don't believe because they want something tangible in front of them. And I'm like, yeah, that's not always that way, though.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not.
And that's what I love about the gear and trying to understand how it works, because it helps me bridge that gap. And then watching and sharing experiences with other people is a big part of that. I got to say, the personal interaction and community of all of it is really amazing. We've been blessed with a lot of interesting and fun people who come through here.
Yeah, and it's really an open door for the youth in the community who want to, be a part of the haunted house or the Grinch's Lair. They love being here in this building, even with the paranormal. They love it. And we love that. And
So why don't we take a moment and talk about the haunted house that you guys put on and promote that, because it is a part of the Texas Jailhouse.
Okay, yeah. Well, Locked in Fear is what we've called it over the years. There were many years where we didn't do a haunted house because our turnaround to the Grinch's Lair is only like 20, 25 days. To take down a haunted house and put up the Grinch's Lair, it's really a difficult task. But this will be our 4th or 5th haunted house in a row coming up this year. And we try to make it different every year. And so right now we are in the creative process of deciding, what spaces will be and, how we're going to do it this year and make it different.
So when you do the Grinch's Lair and the haunted house, do you use every level, or do you kind of limit it to like the first 2 floors?
We use every level. Yeah. We use as much space as we possibly can. And we've tried to expand it over the years. The first year, it would have been just the entrance lobby and then the 2nd floor. And it took us a couple of years to expand, but now it's, we use all 3 floors.
Yeah, the first year we got in here, there were so many broken windows on this 2nd and 3rd floor that it was very, very cold in here. And so after the first winter, I was like, we cannot do it like that again. And so Jeremy was resourceful, and we found a way. And so, we could, repair the broken windows to keep them covered. Because how many windows do we have?
105.
105 windows. That's a lot of windows.
Yeah, we were talking about our house and having to maybe paint 7 doors because they're exterior doors, and we're like, yeah, the people who built this house really love doors, and that's a lot. And then I hear you saying 105 windows. I'm like, oh my God, I would hate when it comes to spring cleaning and window cleaning.
It's you just pick a little bit at a time. But speaking of paint, we've used over 200 gallons of paint in here. Inside.
Yeah, and talking about paint, are you going to leave that door pink?
Yes, I have to.
Yep, the cell for Monty Delk that a lot of people come and ask to check out. A lot of it got painted pink, but we're going to save the door.
Yeah.
Because it's awful looking, but it's just a part of the story.
It is, and it's one of those, if you were to put up like a selfie spot, you almost would want to put it right there, because, where else can you go and get a picture of this god-awful pink color, no offense,
Right.
in a jail cell?
We completely agree. We can actually, let's see, if you screen share, can I screen share here? Let's see. Share screen. Do this.
And those who don't know who Monty Delk is, he was a prisoner here in this jail while he was awaiting trial for murder, and he was executed in Huntsville in 2002. And while he was here, they had to move him to another cell so they could put reinforced steel and mesh over the bars, because he would reach out and he would dig away at the mortar, and so when they were done, they asked him what color he wanted it painted, and he said anything but pink. And so anyway, that's what some of the workers have told me about why it was painted pink. I've also read that pink was a subduing color, that it would calm them, but I don't know how that pink would calm anybody.
No.
I got in trouble for painting the rest of the room. The whole room was pink, but I painted over it.
Yeah, I remember that story, and it was like, and I like though how you have that little bit of pink still left in the room.
Oh yeah, so this is on the second floor, with where Monty Delk was there, and then we have, we can look at a couple others here on the second floor. This is the isolation style cell, right next to it. And we're looking at trying to do a social experiment with this space, to see how long people would last with streamers watching and doing some triggers and maybe throw some funky scents and light bombs and see how long they last in isolation. But as it is, if you go in there and shut that light off, it's just pitch black.
I was just saying, what would be funny to do is to put like the worst music you could find and pipe it in there and see how long people will stay in there.
Exactly. We're going to offer viewers the opportunity to make a donation to change and put, really unpleasant sort of sound clips like bad music and things of that nature. So we completely agree. And this is the open area right here on the second floor, just outside where it says jail office here. And this, where we see the wheel, the metal here, let's see, that's actually the entrance to the cage that we're in right now. And that's the door you were talking about that rolled and closed.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, when I was shooting B-roll there with Lone Star, with Kellen, Justin, and Phoenix, it was so much fun standing behind that door and watching it close and being like, making all this B-roll footage around it, because it's like you don't normally go to a location and have actual working stuff. So it was like really kind of exciting in a way to go, yeah, this door is literally closing on me. And it's not CGI'd, it's real.
Yeah. Real. The sounds are real. You hear the chains throughout the room, as it's being turned. It's
the vibration when it shuts.
Oh, I know. Even though you can walk out the other side behind it, it's like you still get this feeling of, I'm trapped.
It really does immediately.
Yeah.
That feeling of being trapped.
We totally understand that feeling. There's that lovely shower we spoke of earlier. So glorious for anyone who wants to try it.
Just remember, cameras are rolling.
Yeah, we'll get the sheet. Don't worry.
Or at least wear a bathing suit.
Or at least wear, yeah, exactly. I love it. So we're sitting at the table. This is inside that door. And this is the table, the common area, where prisoners would sit and spend their day rec. And then over here are the cells, which are 2 bunk cells. We have an image of what that looks like. There you go. And so that's what it looks like inside of them. And all of these doors can be controlled by that wheel that we were just looking at.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. So you can change the configuration and open and control each of these doors individually.
We'll have to go back and get new footage.
Yeah, come on back. We definitely. And this is a little bit of a perspective of what they're like. They're double bunk inside.
Well, and
So
and I wanted to say real quick, one of the things too that we haven't mentioned but can touch on is I was there with Parapalooza, which was a paranormal like convention event, and you guys offered up space, and it was utilized so well that you had like every level something else, and it's just amazing how much you could actually fit inside the jail.
Isn't it? It blows our minds. We've brought so much stuff in and taken so much out for our different events as props. But for Parapalooza, where we would give a vendor a jail cell, I mean, right there, that was probably 25 different vendors just in the jail cells, not in the other spaces that they were. So the building surprises me how well it can adapt for so many different events.
like this image right here, each of these cells, we worked with the event organizers, and we've even visited with them about the Texas Jailhouse hosting a paranormal conference or another one. And we're glad you mentioned it because it felt like it went pretty well. So your feedback is definitely important. We always want to hear people's feedback because we tried to figure out how to do it at the jail. It was a unique experience for us. And what we wound up doing is turning each of these jail cells into a vendor space. So vendors had an individual jail cell, which was kind of fun. And then you had the trustee tank for a couple of vendors. You could get a couple in there. And you could, as someone coming to the event, explore the whole jail. And I feel like, and I'll let you speak to it, so I'm not just saying it. I felt like it had a decent flow. Like, and all the vendors were amazing with how they set up.
Yeah, I mean, so imagine you're walking into an area and you have art that being exhibited. There was so much space in each of the cells that it was like there was room left over. Like people could have brought more art than they thought they could have, and nobody was crowded over anybody. I mean, the only time I think there ever was like maybe a little congestion is in the area where you guys are sitting because the table is right there in the center and people didn't want to walk into the vendor area. So it created kind of a little backlog of can't get around these people.
But can't get around the 500-pound table. It's massive.
But yeah. Other than that, I mean, I don't think anybody ever really like was sitting there saying, "Hey, you're encroaching on my space," or people going, "Man, I can't help but bumping into you because I'm trying to get around." It's like there was so much room to move around and just, yeah, I mean, utilizing every inch. I was amazed, and there were even rooms where I was like, nobody's going to be back there because it's so awkward to get there. And sure enough, you turn the corner and there's somebody there, and you're like, oh, hi.
Well, Jeremy made that possible by insisting on cutting out certain walls, to make it easier to walk through, like for a haunted house. And so we can use all of the space because of, those holes in the wall that were, not easy to get through.
Well, and one thing that I'll point out, and that's because I think it was last year, shortly after Parapalooza, I had a guest on actually who was a vendor at the Parapalooza at the jailhouse, and that was the aura photographer.
Oh, she was
she
great.
Was amazing.
Yeah. And it impressed me how small a room she was in, but the photo and all the equipment was spaced so that you didn't even realize you were in a tight space. It was like there was so much room, and the pictures turned out really well, and I think it's amazing. So I'm just saying to anybody out there, if you're into photography or special photography, this is a place to go and test it out at, because I don't think there's ever a room that you're like, nope, the lighting's gonna mess up the film, because it's just, you guys have it laid out really well.
We appreciate that. And I definitely want to give a shout out to Amy Lorraine, Psychic Medium, who worked so hard with those vendors for Parapalooza, and along with Robbie Brown, Unknown Ventures, when he hosted the night that was here. And with Amy's hard work with these different vendors trying to accommodate what could work for them, was really great. And Tracy as well. Thank you for all three of them coming out. And we want to do it again. So people can message us if they want to, or you're interested in, definitely investigating. But if you want to explore some other options like that, we want to do another conference, just because it brought a really cool bit of life here to the jail. And seeing the collective that came in from all over. I mean, it really came from Austin, San Antonio, Dallas,
Houston, Louisiana. There were people here,
And one thing I'll point out too is, because we hinted at the fact that there are stairs up to each of the levels, but these are not ordinary stairs. The stairwell is actually wide enough for like 2 or 3 people to walk up next to each other and not bump into each other. Unlike a lot of the other buildings that are of that time frame where everybody was viewed as being super tiny, so they built the stairwells very minimally.
I think we both have a love-hate relationship with the stairs here, because there's so many of them. And like the day before an event or the day of an event, we will go up and down those stairs 60 times. And that's not an exaggeration.
Right. No, I know. And I agree with you on that, but
there's so much space. You're right. And they're not steep, and
So this is pretty good concept, like you can see a little bit. It's fun sort of picture here, but it's nice, it's spacious. There's room. They're not super steep, but that's good to know. I'm glad you said that, because that was something I wanted to make sure people could comfortably get around. But now what we really want to leverage as well is this opportunity to do what you're doing, as well as supporting the overall, and I say that with live streaming, but support vendors and people who come here with speakers and actually broadcast that out via streaming and social platforms. So we want to really make a great in-person space, but also provide an opportunity, again, for anyone and everyone out there to participate when we have an event here.
Right. And one thing too that's, I think, I've only seen in one other historic jail, and that's the one in Ballinger, the old Runnels jail, is you actually still have the corridor where you can walk fully around the entire floor. If you don't want to go into the cells, you can go around the cells.
Yes, the catwalk.
And the catwalk gets very creepy at night in the dark.
It is, because, it goes the whole length of the building. And, that's been one of my biggest fears, is that I am going down that corridor and I see something at the end of it, and that hasn't really happened to me yet because it's just, one of those fears from like a movie or something. But that's what it feels like sometimes when you're walking around in here, especially at night in the dark. It's creepy.
And the other thing too about it is there's I think it's the second floor, the one behind where you guys are at on the other side, that stretch there. It's like you're walking on it and you're like, I feel like I should have reached the end by now. And it just keeps going and going. And then you finally hit the end and you're like, man, this is a lot longer than I thought it was.
Exactly. Because you have to keep going and going, even when you make the turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I gotta give you kudos for having the wiring and everything through there, because I would have been like, okay, I think I'm running out of wire here. Am I even to the end? I want to be done.
Well, that's an interesting component of the cameras. When we got into the paranormal investigating, we worked with some teams who would run wires for cameras. And it took so much time just to get a few of them out in certain locations that we wanted, if people booked the Texas Jailhouse, to make it accessible. And we run some IP cameras. So some of them have audio, and then we have a traditional security camera system. But when you come, you're going to have access to at least 12 or 13 cameras. And that's all set up for you. And it helps you to do your investigating.
And what was funny is when I was there with Lone Star, we were on the second floor sitting at the table you guys are at, and we're talking. And we were like a couple of times stopped and said, are you guys hearing this? Like, there's a conversation going on. And we actually ended up figuring out we were hearing the camera at your setup, the TV screen talking what we were talking. We were hearing ourselves up through the floor and didn't realize it was us. And we were like, who's this other group here talking? And it was kind of funny. And so, yeah, we were like, oh, it's the TV on the first level in the lobby.
Yeah, we spend most of our time debunking. Like, what is that? What is that? And this building, it is an Art Deco building, so it's a bunch of squares within squares, on a square, and the sounds coming from everywhere. It's okay. It's not traffic. It's not this. It's not people talking outside. That's but when it happens, and I can't deny it, where it is. And when I know, and we recently went through that where we've never caught anything on camera before because we're doing so many things. We're not ghost hunting here all the time. We just don't. And so we had the cameras up. We turned them on in the lobby. We were having a ghost team that was going to come in, in a few hours. So we were cleaning and we turned the monitors on and we were both like, what is that? And it was an orb at this table, and we had some ghost equipment out, and it interacted with us for an hour, just like moving around the table and going up to the different, pieces of equipment. And it blew our minds because, we could tell it was intelligent. It was interacting with us. We just didn't know what it was. We were like, oh, is this what an orb is? For the first time and catching it on camera. We see things all the time, and you can explain to people your experience of what you went through, but unless you have it on film to explain it, it doesn't feel real. And so we were really excited about that.
And one thing I want to bring up, and it kind of plays to the historical paranormal side, and I know, Jeremy, you have a lot of fun when it comes to the tours talking about this. Palestine is literally a city of the dead. And
Yes.
Oh,
do you
yeah.
want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, I'm gonna turn that over to Sonia while I find an image, some historical images, because Sonia found the article in her research that actually had that headline, Palestine, City of the Dead.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Because
City of the Dead. 2 blocks away from the jail is our city cemetery, the Palestine City Cemetery. And it was 4 cemeteries that had converged together over the years. And there are 60,000 people buried in it. And we're talking rolling hills and obelisks and, these old gravestones, 100-year-old cedar trees. It's just a beautiful cemetery. But our population in Palestine is around 18,000. So if there was ever a zombie apocalypse, we are screwed. Because just down the block, there's 60,000 people buried. It's a number is so hard to comprehend. And I've spent lots of time in that cemetery, looking at historical figures, and it's really incredible. You're hearing our dog, by the way. It's not a ghost. It's our dog.
No, and when we talk about historical, there is, if I remember right, a Civil War Confederate regiment that died there.
Yes, the Granbury Brigade. They came through Palestine during the Civil War, and they were all very sick, and they died, and they remained unknown until the 80s when the Historical Commission and different organizations around town decided to, take one of the soldiers and get DNA testing done and genealogical studies, and they were able to, send this man's family a letter letting them know that he'd been found. And, that was the saddest thing to me because, in war during that time, they just didn't come home. You didn't really know. And the fact that Palestine cared enough to, keep their graves up and then go the extra step by finding out, one of them which is extremely expensive to do that, to, dig up the grave and send off the testing. But just amazing stories that come out of that cemetery. There's like 60,000 people buried. There's so many stories. And, the founders of Palestine, the first lawyers and judges and doctors are all buried in that cemetery.
And then, is it connected, or is there a path dividing the slave section?
Actually, there is another cemetery. If you want to go back to that time, I think the very first person built in that buried in that city cemetery was a slave that was actually hung for theft. And but other than that, it was the city's elite at first, and then the African American cemetery is across town, so it was segregated. Especially
And
this is the unknown Confederate soldiers' grave sites right here. That's what they look like if anyone goes out there to the cemetery. And then while you guys are talking about that, I'll try and find an image of the other cemetery we're talking about.
And it is amazing because Palestine is a city, but as everything is located, it's kind of unusual. And you did have a photo that I wanted to point out when Sonia said you guys were in trouble if a zombie apocalypse broke out. You are a radioactive nuclear shelter, so I think you guys would be okay.
Yes.
With that.
Yeah, this building is designated as an above-ground fallout shelter. It was designated during the Kennedy administration back in the 60s. And so it's a very sturdy building. We're not really sure if it would protect us from fallout, but it is concrete and steel. So we don't worry about storms anymore for us personally.
Yeah, but I mean, it is amazing. We talk about how close it is. You literally go out the front door, turn right on the street, turn left, and there's a Hallmark Tires, if I'm remembering right.
Right.
And then the cemetery is right there. And it's like, it literally is that close. You could throw a stone.
Yes. It's closer to get to the cemetery than to walk the other side of the cemetery is, probably half a mile?
Yeah.
About half a mile?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm.
It is.
It's beautiful.
It is, and it's really well kept, actually. Most places you go to, it's like tall weeds or the grass is like bare and it's muddy or this or that. But when we were walking there, it was actually, I think, really well kept. And so it kind of shows how the city is taking care of its own. And I also want to mention how you guys do things to help the city. And so that is, I think, really noble and something unique that I find a few owners of haunted locations do. But I just want to acknowledge that, you guys don't just do stuff for the jailhouse, you do stuff for the city as well.
Thank you. Palestine is a historic town that, deserves its place in, Texas history for sure. Being the third oldest town and once considered for the capital, it's, the railroad coming in the 1880s and really made this a boom town. But of course, that died out. And so sometimes all you have to save these smaller towns, is tourism. And so we really, are passionate about promoting preservation through the arts and, restoring as much as we can, but preserving the stories because they're so amazing. They're so incredible. And I actually spent 8 years researching Palestine's history to write a movie. And I wrote it in, a couple of months and it was like time travel. And this place was so full of big hopes and, a lot of despair and a lot of corruption, especially since it was such a political, heartbeat in Texas. It was, Sam Houston used to sit on the Osceola Hotel steps across the street and give speeches. And like I said, Civil War, greatly affected Palestine.
What I find interesting is being a history major. When I studied Texas history, we studied El Paso being the oldest town, yes. San Antonio de Bejar, then there was Washington on the Brazos, Nacogdoches, Houston, Goliad, Gonzales, but never a mention of Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's so incredible about this town. It's like a little twilight zone of hidden history, and it continues to be that way just by, I'm hoping to change that, as much as I can with what I can do. And I know so many amazing people who have fought so hard to preserve this history. But, personally, I like telling, stories through film. And that's what I've been working on with, the movie that I wrote about this town. And it goes through 3 different centuries with 3 different characters and how incredible Palestine was and still is and can be. And, we need tourists here. We need people coming to this town.
reading through your history that you sent me of the area, it amazes me that it's not more readily known, because Daniel Parker of the Parkers from
Fort
Cynthia
Houston.
Ann Parker and Fort Parker was there. And so that's a very famous family. So you would think that would bring notoriety, but
Yes, in Anderson County, in the county we live in, and that's also where the Quanah Parker story, and the little girl who was kidnapped, from the fort, and so Palestine has so many stories, and some of them are really dark, because it is the county seat, and there was a lot of legal and governmental things going on here. But it was also about a people who really stuck together when the Civil War really kicked them down. And you see that through the generations of Palestinian people who are still here and their ancestors.
And I just like to say that I appreciate the acknowledgement from what we try to do for the community, but it is such a partnership. Like, we couldn't do what we're doing at the Texas Jailhouse if the city didn't work with us, if the community didn't work with us. It just wouldn't be possible. Taking on this jail was a big project, and we're fortunate to be a part of the Main Street District and work together to preserve the history. So I'd say for anyone out there interested in this type of experience, work with, try to be patient with your city. But here in Palestine, definitely shout out to everyone there and their willingness to work with us to do what we do here. They're trying to do a lot here in Palestine, a film-friendly community. We really are working to restore our properties. So we'd love to have more and more people explore our community.
And we have a train, the Texas State Railroad. We have a steam engine here.
Polar Express, Christmas time.
Yeah, it's really does turn into a little Christmas Hallmark town. Mm-hmm. And so it's a great destination.
But staying on that history, Sonia did quite a bit of research on this gentleman here.
Yeah, Chris Rogers. He was a marshal and a quick shot. He was born and raised right here on the square and joined the Civil War when he was 14 and came back and helped tame a, really wild railroad town. Up to, 30, 40,000 people would come in on the trains on the weekends to come to the Opera House and to, visit the saloons and the brothels. And we sold our streetcar to a little town called Dallas. That's what Palestine was.
It is funny to hear you say little town called Dallas, because it really was a small little town, and now it's a major metropolis that's, I think, needs to go back to its small town roots, but that's just my personal opinion. Don't everybody jump me for it. But one of the things, too, I was going to mention is when you said the railroad is, when I was younger, my parents and I, we went and rode the Palestine Rusk railroad line, both, to and from. And it's amazing that, you know about the railroad and that it's a popular stop and everything, but when you get off in Palestine, it's like there's so much there that nobody even really knows about. And it's like, that's where I was like so excited to have you guys on, is because you guys are doing so much to revitalize the image of the town and the city. And there's so much there that people, are always wanting to go see, but they don't go because they don't know it's there. And this is like, it's like an hour and a half from Dallas. So it's not that far to go to experience this. And my hopes is that people watching this, I mean, paranormal people, yes, I hope you do go and investigate this location. It is a very cool location, and the cemetery that's close by. But there's so much more there. I mean, the hotels are really nice. I mean, everything is really nice there, and people are friendly.
Yes, this community really comes together, and I've been working on this project where there's this movie being filmed in town. It's a Palestine story, and they're filming in Palestine, and we tell them, "Hey, Palestine, we need 100 extras dressed in 50s attire," and the whole town shows up, and they look amazing, and it's this community wants Palestine to succeed and continue, and it's by these little groups of people coming in and doing big things.
Yeah, and I have to say, I kind of can see Palestine becoming the next Jefferson, because Jefferson embraces its paranormal side and is booming on that knowledge, and people come from all over to investigate this town. And I feel like Palestine, with what you guys are doing, is on the precipice of being of that status and stature of people coming to experience this town, and everybody sharing their experiences. And there are so many places in Palestine that it's like, when I was there, I was like, I've been in this city before, but I didn't know this was here. I've been to this location or that location, and they're all so close.
I know, and it hits you like, is this the Twilight Zone? Because so many people drive by our big building every day for years, and they're like, I didn't know that building was there. It's like, how could you not? But I mean, it does that to you a little bit. We have the most historic homes in Texas besides Galveston. Galveston's number one, and Palestine's number two. And we see these people coming in and really restoring these old homes, and they're beautiful and incredible. And we love this town.
And if I'm not mistaken, isn't Palestine have base nearby it? Or once was a base nearby it?
We have the balloon facility.
The NASA balloon facility.
Yeah.
We have quite a few jail prisons.
Yeah.
We have quite a few prisons.
I think there's.
Because I remember I was at a house in Palestine, and I heard cannon fire, and I was like, "There's got to be a base nearby here."
Well,
but
who knows?
You never know around.
What that could have been? It could also be the trains whenever they're hitting. They hit to connect the trains. That can be very loud whenever they're moving one train onto another train. Because we still have a working railroad in Palestine. So sometimes when they hit, it sounds like the biggest explosion.
Much better, and thanks to community leadership as well with that. They've really figured out a way to keep the train coming through the town safely, but also be conscious of all the potential. I know it's a safety thing, but the horn and blowing it and some of those other things has gotten so much better.
Yeah.
But you rarely hear it in the jail here and there. Wintertime seems to pick up just a little bit, but what you hear is more a little bit of a nostalgia of what's still there from 100 years of history.
175.
Yeah, 175 years. Jeez.
Yeah, Sonia's not going to let you slip on that one.
Yeah,
I should have said 100 plus. I would have been safe.
Yeah.
But it's just history that you get some essence of. And going back to the investigating aspect of this, we've insulated windows to help cut down on outside sound, but the jail itself had the windows open for the majority of the history of the building. It was designed not with an air conditioning system. It was all about cross ventilation on top of a hill. So
and we're the only Art Deco building in town, and when it was built was right after, I guess, the Great Flu. What's it called? When there was flu. So we designed this building to have all the windows and cross ventilation so people wouldn't get sick, which didn't really strike a chord with us until, of course, COVID happens, and you're wondering, is our business going to continue? How can we, it was definitely a different kind of feeling. But we're the only Art Deco building in town, and it's we love our windows, but it can get hot in here and cold.
Oh, this is Spanish. Thank you.
Spanish, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate you having us on.
Yeah, and Kids Like Hell is mentioning the Spanish flu. Is that the one that you were thinking of?
Yes, that was what I was thinking of. Yes, the Spanish flu.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love my audience. They tend to chime in when mine goes blank and fill in the gaps.
I appreciate working with everyone.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on, and I know you guys probably have things to do and things to get ready for, so thank you for sharing all this history and all these experiences and these photos and everything with us. I feel like not only did we talk about what you can experience there, but you actually gave us a guided tour almost to show all that you could experience. So that was really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate
it. We tried to create this folder so when people come or they book a reservation, we have a little bit of something to share. And this is one thing we just didn't touch on. Great images, though. This was the second Anderson County Jail. This was actually at this very location before our building and facility was built, which is what this looks like. So we really appreciate the people who take the time to come be here with us. And we do put together this Google Drive to share so that you have something to take with you and be prepared.
Yes, and for anyone who does want to investigate, Jeremy kindly shared with me the link to schedule that with them. So in the description of the episode is that link. So if you want to come and experience it, use that link, and that is the best way to get a hold of them to schedule an investigation.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Or to come to the haunted house or the Grinch and just see the building and see Palestine. And also just wanted to thank you. This is our first podcast we've ever done. So, we didn't really know what to expect, but this was really fun. Thank you.
Well, you guys did it so well. I would never have known this was the first one.
Ooh, it's good times. We look forward to the next time you're at the jail.
Yes, hopefully I'll be able to get over there before the end of the year. And
awesome. We look forward to it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then to your viewer here, Kitsla. Yes, we do allow groups. We do. We tell people, you can also give us a call. Here, I'm going to put my phone number. Actually, I'm just going to put it's my cell for your viewers. You can text me, and we can work something out that way too. Oops, let me get this. But we try to keep groups under 10 unless it's some other type of experience. Because we have had a bachelor party here at the jail.
Really?
Yeah.
We had a wedding last year on Halloween. Yeah, there was a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun.
We had a wedding that was great.
Yeah.
It was really cool how they set that up.
And we just recently had a gender reveal, also.
So we're really open to a lot of creative things here. Feel free to reach out, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Very cool. And were you going to put your number up because it didn't come through yet?
Yeah, I did. It said this comment has failed to post to the
sensitivity.
Oh, for security, they probably don't allow you to.
Yeah, they probably recognize it as a phone number.
Yeah.
Well, there's a phone number on the website, but definitely reach out to us. And I guess if you're listening, it's 903-394-3679. That reminds me of old school radio.
Yeah, it's like totally a 90s commercial on TV.
Man, all I got out of that was the 903.
Right? 903-394-3679.
All right. I got it on my phone.
Right on.
And so thank you guys again, and thank you to everyone in the chat room, everyone watching. And is one thing I want to say to both of you, and if you want, I can close the share screen if you're done with that.
Yep.
And that is, I wanted to say with my heart to you both, thank you for what you're doing for the city and for the paranormal field.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It means a lot.
It really does.
Appreciate what you're doing, getting out there, connecting, and sharing the message. For all these different messages.
Yeah. So before I close it up totally, is there anything you guys want to promote that we may have missed, or anything you guys want to mention?
I would say like us, Texas Jailhouse on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Our Facebook page, we try to keep pretty active. Definitely txjailhouse.com works great for booking, but our Texas Jailhouse Facebook page works really well to get a hold of us, but also updates.
Very cool. And thank you to you both. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and wonderful, I guess, haunted house season and Grinch season.
Is there a holiday? I don't know. We're going to be in haunted house mode. You know, our brains are not going to stop until then. So, yeah.
You know, at least you don't have a Thanksgiving event mixed in there, too.
No, actually, we worked really hard to plan it so we could have a Thanksgiving with our family. And that's why we always open like the weekend before Thanksgiving. So we don't have that pressure of, we've got to get this, work all night long on Thanksgiving to open the next day. So we open the weekend before Thanksgiving for that reason.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think this is a good time to say good night, and thank you so much, and thank you for keeping the history alive as well.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And we can't wait to have you back.
I look forward to coming back, and I will be in touch because I'm going to seriously try to sway my friend to have her party there, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it. It'll be a great party, great investigation. Come early that day, set it up, make it a whole experience.
Yeah, I'll definitely be talking to her about that, and
all right.
And I will mention as much as I can, promoting you guys out and Texas Scaregrounds out and Old Park, all the little hot spots around the area, so that people who are visiting the area know that, you're not limited to the big cities, that there's a lot of cool things in the small towns around. And I'm in no means calling Palestine a small town, so don't misconstrue that one.
It's a,
Nope.
it's a growing
Great.
town. It's a growing town.
So thank you and have a wonderful night, and I will see you guys soon.
Sounds good. Good night, everyone. Night.
Good night.